looking at right here is a pedal board that I set up for fly dates. Most of the fly dates that I do right now are with Broadway's Rock of Ages band, which is one of my favorite gigs. I was a sub, an alternate for pretty much the whole Broadway run of Rock of Ages, the original Broadway run. And I was subbing both for Tommy Kessler, who also plays for Blondie, and for Joel Hoekstra, who also plays in Trans-Siberian Orchestra with me, and he also plays in Whitesnake. At the time, he was in Night Ranger. So both Tommy and Joel subbed it out a lot, and I got to do the show a lot. It was great fun. And now we do these concert appearances where we play all the songs that were used in the show, but we do them more like the original versions, which with the solos and everything. So it's a good time. It's nothing but a good time. And I get to go in for either Tommy or Joel, depending on who's available or not available. And we got one coming up this weekend, so I figured I'd just have a look at the pedal board that I put together for this. Over the course of the last couple of years, I've been downsizing my pedal board, and this is the current version built on a Pedal Train Nano Plus, which I specifically use because it fits in a carry-on sized suitcase, and that's key to doing these little fly dates. Now that they're making pedals so much smaller, I've got more on it than I ever used to have, and it's just built for those kind of tones, the mid to high gain hard rock tones from the 80s. Let's just see what I've got. Well, right now I'm plugged into my Laney 30 watt head, and it's kind of a plexi style circuit with 4 inputs, and I'm plugged into the low input on the bass channel, and that sounds like this with no pedals on it. We typically backline Marshall DSL or JCM 2000 DSLs. So whatever I'm plugging into I'm going to set it fairly clean or just edge of breakup. A lot of times depends on what exactly we get. And I got the clean sound, and so I'm leaning on this LPD 87 as the Marshall in a box on my pedal board. So that sounds like this. And I've got a fair amount of control with the volume knob. So right there, I'm in kind of a classic crunch zone. And then I've got for the basic sound, I'll also have the reverb on pretty much the whole time. Just gives me a little bit of ambience. And I know that a lot of folks don't want to run reverb and delay into the front end of the amp, but because I'm getting almost all the gain from the pedals, it's not, and I just tweak it so that I get it to a spot where it's livable. It saves me having to count on the backline amp having a working effects loop or a working foot switch and channel switching and stuff. I just do it all on the board and all straight into the amp. So that's the basic thing with the LPD 87 crunching and the Hall of Fame with a little reverb. It's kind of like a 3-channel amp. Like, that's the basic sound. I add the tumness to get boosted. Now the channel 2 from Zvex is in the write-up. It is meant to be just like the SHO pedal. If you leave the volume on 100%, you can use the gain, and it's just like an SHO. And that's my favorite boost into the front end of a Marshall. So it just has a bigging effect. So this is the transition from regular to with the boost. then there's the delay, and delay is a subtle thing to set when you're going into the front end of the amp, but I have it to a place where I can deal with it, and here it is. With all that going on, if I wanted to, the other thing that I have the mod 11 at functioning as a chorus, and that's when you get into Pour Some Sugar on Me, and Here I Go Again. You're going to hear it on that kind of thing. I just started using this Polytune, which right now is annoyingly always on, even when it's not on. So I'm gonna have to look at the manual and fix that. I am thinking about getting the smaller version of the Hall of Fame, and because I'm kind of just leaving it on one setting all night. In a bigger version of this pedal board, I do have a tap button for the digital delay pedal, but I found that I really wasn't using it. I kind of set it to one spot, and then I have one other spot I have to hit in order to do the beginning of Welcome to the Jungle. And so I can do without that to get the reverb back, because I like the controllability of this versus the Marshall heads a little better. Anyway, so that's the whole board. It's using a Chox power supply, and it fits in the little pedal train bag, and it goes in like takes up one half of my little suitcase, and I'll probably put this in a flight case and check it, and I'll be off and running, playing the hits of the 80s in beautiful Iowa. So that's it. That's my pedal board for fly dates and how I'm planning on getting to Iowa this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.